Welcome to Backyard Cigars. So glad that you could join me once again. And today is a treat. Today is actually a real treat because I feel like I need to treat myself today. And just some stuff that's been happening in my life, right? And sometimes when certain things happen in our lives, we, us cigar smokers at least, seek the comfort of a special cigar, a celebratory cigar, or just our old reliable brand that we can trust, that we love. And today I said, you know what? I'm going to dig into the vault and I'm going to smoke something that I've been holding off. And this is the Alfonso Produccion Limitada Anejo No.3. And it's a cigar that was rated so high by Half Wheel that in January of 2023, they proclaimed it the cigar of the year for 2023. That's right. In the very beginning of 2023, Half Wheel decided that this is the cigar of the year and it just can't be beat. I mean, this is what they determined. If I'm incorrect about that, please correct me, but that's what I read. Now, if it was just that they put it in the contention or in the top list for the best cigars of 2023, that's a possibility as well. But I read that Half Wheel said this is the best. And it had a lot to do with construction. It had a lot to do with the smoke output, flavor. Let's talk about the specs. But before we talk about the specs, before we do that, let's look at the beauty that is this cigar. Okay, now the bands, the foot band, the flawless Ecuadorian wrapper. I mean, it's just there seems to be, well, those of you that know Nelson Alfonso and Selected Tobacco's brands and their lines know of Atabey and Lord Byron and things like that. And if you've ever had an Atabey and you've seen the wrapper on an Atabey, it looks out of this world. Like, it just doesn't look like a human being rolled it to perfection in that way and so perfectly. But a lot of that has to do with leaf selection, and Alfonso has his own way of, grading and selecting the leaves. And he also has a way of fermenting the tobacco, as well as a secret way of finishing the cigar once it's been rolled. Now, I've talked about that a lot lately, about how some cigar makers are trying to introduce cigars that they've laid down for 1 to 2 years after rolling, which has become more commonplace than in the past. But with Nelson Alfonso, he goes one step further. I've mentioned him as an example of someone who has released cigars that he's held down for 2 years. But with Nelson Alfonso in this particular line, he actually aged it for 4 years after rolling. For 4! Chew on that. Now, although I was very careful in removing the footband, this happened. Not the end of the world. Not the end of the world. But, and certainly this will, within the first inch of the cigar, will burn away. But just, something that I noticed just now, and, didn't like that much to happen. But I'll live. Just getting started with this one. Really nice aroma off the bat. And we're going to talk about the specs. So it's an Ecuadorian wrapper, aged for 2 years. It's an Ecuadorian binder, aged for 3 years. It's composed of fillers from Peru and Nicaragua, both aged 3 years as well. Then the cigar, once rolled, is left to finish age añejado for 4 years. And that's a lot of time, let me tell you, for a cigar maker to lay down his cigars before releasing them to the market. It's not completely unheard of, but it is extremely rare. Extremely, if I may add. But when Nelson Alfonso puts out a cigar line, it's usually very rare. And when I mean rare, I don't mean like he's getting the most exotic tobaccos on earth and doing things that have never, ever, ever been done. No, he's just doing everything next level, right? Because that's just how Nelson Alfonso operates. That's just the gear that he is in. He's next level. And whether it's presentation, construction, quality of the tobaccos, the fermentation process, the finishing process, all of those things, he's gonna max out, and he's gonna charge you for it in the end. But yeah, he is. He's gonna charge you for it in the end. Because unlike AJ Fernandez, unlike some other individuals in the cigar industry, and this is not to criticize Nelson Alfonso in the least bit. When you know what you're worth and you know what your product is worth, or what you feel it's worth, you have a right to, price it for what you feel is fair, or what you feel is going to make you the most amount of money for the amount of work and dedication that you've put in. And in Nelson Alfonso's case, we're talking about expensive cigars most of the time. Okay, maybe some of the Lord Byrons are in the 20 plus range, which isn't out of this world in the least bit. But then you have cigars like this one, the Anejo series, which is the first line introduced under his name, under the family name, the Alfonso. And this Anejo No.3 set me back $41. Okay, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of bucks. It may or may not be worth the $41, depending on your palate, your preference, how you feel, whatever. But as a cigar reviewer, I just have to forget about the fact that I paid $41 for it for just a tad bit, for just a bit. Enjoy the smoking experience, sum it all up, see how I feel at the end. And there are times when you feel like you overpaid for a cigar, but then you have such a fantastic experience with it that you're like, man, that was worth $40. Man, that was worth $50. I remember one particular birthday that I broke out a Fuente cigar that I had paid $100 for. Paid $100, or a little under $100 for it. And I had held it for about a year, and I thought it was really rare. It was one of those rare cigars by Opus X Fuente cigars. And I thought it was just extremely too expensive, but I bought it anyway because I said, you know what? I think maybe I'll smoke this for my birthday next year. And I did. And it did not disappoint. Was it worth the $100? Probably not. No. It was, to me, I figured it was probably worth somewhere in the 30 to 50 range. But it was $100, and it wasn't Fuente's fault that it was $100. It was marked up to $100. Fuente probably sold it for about $50. If you could get it at MSRP of $49 or $50. But I was getting it on the gray market secondhand, so I paid the premium. But in this cigar, Nelson is charging you a premium for those 4 years because you're paying $41. Now, this cigar came as a set of 3. It's a little small one. This is this one. And then there's a Gigante that I have that's worth even more than the $41. But look, I wanted to experience the first line of cigars in Nelson Alfonso's Produccion line. And I just felt like, yeah, some people buy cigars like this and they keep them, they hold on to them because, collector's edition, first release of, especially in Nelson Alfonso's case, a legendary cigar man. And you figure this might be worth something down the line. And it may very well be. It may very well be worth something down the line. But I generally do not like to buy cigars just so I can sit on them and say, oh, look at this collectible that I have that's appreciated over the years. I collect bourbon, and I have a lot of bourbon bottles that have gone up over the years. But I've never purchased a bourbon bottle and said, I'm investing in this bottle. I'm buying this bottle now because it's $150, and I know that in a few years it'll be triple that. I've never done that. Still, I have bottles that has happened with, but it wasn't by design. It wasn't like that was my goal. It was, I'm buying this bottle for a special occasion. I'm going to drink it. I'm not going to sell it. And if I do sell it, it's because I'm really, really hard up for cash. an emergency has occurred and I have a cash flow problem or something like that, something tragic, something that I don't even want to think about. And then, of course, in that situation, you would liquidate. But let's not talk about liquidation right now. We're talking about the fact that, a lot of people gravitated towards these cigars when they were first introduced in 2023 or late 2022 because of the fact that it was the first release from Nelson Alfonso under the family name. So yeah, that makes them special right from the get for that reason alone. And I would not fault people for having purchased the cigars and buying two sets, saying, you know what, I'm going to smoke one set and I'm going to put the other one away. But here's the problem with that. There's a problem with that, and I'll tell you what might be a problem. Maybe it's not a problem. What might be a problem with that is that because these cigars have already been aged for 4 years, you're getting them already aged 4 years. So if you're laying them down further, I will tell you this much. From my experience with having aged Atabays, not Byron's, but Atabays mainly, and having aged, I forget what other line from that Nelson Alfonso has something to do with. They age okay, they age well enough, but they get milder, smoother, milder. They get that vintage cigar feel and flavor profile. And that's not a bad thing. It's not the worst thing. In some cases, it might be desired. It might be something that people actually strive to achieve. Get these cigars that already got 4 years on them, so I'm already 4 years in, and I'm going to age them another 6, and at 10 years, I'm either going to sell them, smoke them, or whatever. To each his own. I buy cigars to smoke them. For the occasion, I save them for whatever purpose I may be feeling. I may be feeling that the cigar will meet my needs. That's when I take the cigar out and I smoke it. And with this cigar, I knew it already had 4 years of aging. So I knew that I could let the cigar sit maybe another year for my flavor profile taste, because I didn't think that I would want to smoke this years down the line. I figured at the most a year, but I've had it for a little under 4 months, and I felt like the time is here to smoke it, to enjoy it and share it with you guys and let you know what I think about it. $41, 6x54, aged tobaccos, special in its release, special in its packaging, special in the age of the tobaccos, right? All these things play a role. And then a very expensive cigar. Yes, you're getting charged a premium. But Jose, you've been talking for like 10 minutes and you haven't told us anything about the cigar, and you're an inch in. So I will start by telling you about the cigar. It is smooth. It has a slight saltiness to it. Very subtle saltiness to it. It's smooth, it's elegant, it's refined, it has hints of cedar, it has a light sweetness to it. Right now it's mild. It's mild. It's flavorful. Creamy, and I like it so far, but we'll see where this takes us. I'm going to tell you that so far, over an inch, I'm finding it too mild for my taste. Too mild for my taste. Probably the perfect morning cigar, although I don't know how many of us indulge in a $40 morning cigar. But for those of you that feel the need, then yeah, this would fit the bill. Perfect morning cigar, very smooth, very mild. A little too mild for my taste, but that's not taking away from the fact that what I am tasting is really nice. If you're a retrohaler, if you are, you don't have to be. You really don't. But if you are, then you more than likely will enjoy retrohaling this cigar and getting those little extra oomph of flavor that this cigar would provide. Nonetheless, even though I said it's very mild, it's upticking just a little bit in strength, medium bodied, mild in strength, but very good flavor and very good balance, of course. And there's that refinement that you get from these tobaccos. The Peruvian tobacco may or may not be providing some sweetness, may or may not be. It's also providing a little bit of spice in the finish. But overall, the experience is good, and I'm enjoying it. But the jury's still out. The jury is still out on whether or not, at the end of the experience, I'm going to feel like either I want to do it again, or B, whether I just enjoyed it as a one-time thing and, got to experience the tobaccos from Selected Tobaccos and Nelson Alfonso, or just good of me to share this with you so that you can make your own choice in whether you want to purchase a cigar like this. I think it's outstanding tobacco, high quality tobacco. Even if in regards to strength, I just got a nice rush of like a saltine cracker like flavor that just coated my palate and really just exploded. But you know what I was gonna say is that even though it's not in regards to strength, okay, I have my preferences, we all have our preferences, what we like in terms of strength, body, whatever, wrapper. Even though it's not in that wheelhouse, I can really appreciate this cigar a lot. What kind of a smoker enjoys this cigar? Any kind of smoker, any kind of cigar smoker will enjoy this cigar. I think from beginner all the way up to aficionado to expert is going to enjoy this cigar. It's a crowd pleaser. It's sort of neutral in its blend. It's not doing anything too crazy with the flavor profile. It's just providing a really good amount of smooth tasting tobacco with richness in flavors, and while mild at times, it's still providing enough of that oomph that we need. And I really feel that by the second half, you're experiencing it in a different way. The transitions have evolved, and hey, it's all the better. What kind of a cigar smoker would not enjoy this cigar? I think that the only cigar smokers that are not going to enjoy this cigar are the ones that are Maduro crazy, Maduro obsessed, and just like stronger cigars with that different flavor profile. Think AJ. Think maybe Padron. Perhaps this will not be to your liking. But I really feel like if you give something like this a chance, and I'm not talking about specifically this cigar, but just in general, cigars that are lighter, that are milder, but still offer a lot of flavor, that you'll come away a winner and enjoying it. But look, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to smoke anything that you may not like or that you just don't want to try. My position as a cigar reviewer is to smoke the cigar and just be completely unbiased about it and tell you what I think about it and push my preferences to the side, because I have to judge the cigar for what it is, not for what I want it to be or what I expect it to be. But expectations do play a role in a review and in a cigar smoking experience, and that's just part of the process. You can expect something from a cigar, and if it doesn't deliver that, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a failure or that it's a bad cigar, but maybe it lets you down a little bit in burn time, construction, whatever the case may be. There are little things that will piss us off for no reason at all sometimes. And I think that with this cigar, it's a fine stick. It's a really fine stick. This cigar had cedar, it had cream, it had pizzazz, it really had these notes and transitions that were just so well done. That saltine cracker in the finish, really with some nice soft pepper in the beginning, and then it transitioned, and then you got more pepper towards the final third, and even some in the second half. You got really good flavor transition. Overall, very good construction. would I name this cigar Cigar of the Year? Well, I certainly wouldn't do it without letting the year play out. That's one. But who knows? I mean, I couldn't say. I'd have to really, and I'm not into that. I'm not into scoring and rating and judging in that manner. It's fun to read it, it's fun to see it, but that's just not me. It's not something I'm into. I respect it when people garner praise, when they make lists and they're considered for best of this and best of that. That's all really good, and it's fun to watch. And you know, even purchase some of these cigars and see if you can have a similar experience. And sometimes you come out pleasantly surprised, and other times you come out disappointed. It just really depends sometimes, but overall it's fun. It is. And again, have fun with this hobby. Have fun with every aspect of it. Don't take it too seriously in the sense that you're going to, you know, add bitterness to your life over something within the cigar industry or the cigar world. There are certain things that you may not like, or we may not like, and that's fine. And if there's a cigar you don't like, don't buy it. You know, and if there's something about the cigar brand that really screams offensive, then, you know, sure, I can get behind you know, a company that is obviously toxic and doesn't belong within the cigar industry. I think we all can get behind that idea. But for the most part, what I'm saying is have fun smoking cigars. Don't worry too much about whether it's the best or whether what someone may tell you that you should expect. Just enjoy yourself. I really like the sweetness and the cream with that salt, and I really like how the pepper in the finish is just so well done, just so well balanced. It's really scrumptious down to the nub almost, and I've had a good experience. But to answer the $40 question, no, I would say this is a good $25-$30 cigar. At $41, you're paying, in my eyes, maybe $10-$12 more, because it's been laid down for 4 years. And when you lay down something for that long, that period of time, you want to extract some funds. You want to get some of your money back. And so that's business. And that's business, and the cigar industry is still a business. So while we love it and enjoy it, we just have to understand that there are certain things about it, like with pricing and things like that, and regulations and so forth, that cigars fall into, and that's just how it is. It just doesn't matter, and we can talk about that for hours. But overall, I want to thank all, ladies and gentlemen, for coming to YouTube and checking out my channel and listening to me talk about cigars, how much I love them, how much you should love them. And it's almost like a cookie dough. It was like a cookie dough sweetness, and it just, yeah, that was nice, man. That was nice. Way to finish. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time on Backyard Cigars.